Ready? Online. Ready.
I request everyone to take your seats. I request everyone to please occupy your seats. Once again, I welcome you all of you for the second session. It gives me immense pleasure to invite Chairman of this session, Dr. S.N. Puri sir, former Vice Chancellor, Central Agriculture University, Imphal, and President of ESI on the dais. Welcome, sir. I feel privileged to invite Dr. Chandiz Ballal, former Director, ICR, NBIR, and Speaker of First ESI Annual Lecture on the dais. It gives me immense pleasure to invite Dr. V.V. Ramamurthy sir, former Professor, Division of Entomology and Chief Editor of Indian Journal of Entomology on the dais. I also request Dr. S. Subramaniam Sir, Principal Scientist, Division of Entomology, on the dais. I welcome all the dignitaries on the behalf of ESI. I invite Dr. V.B. Ramamurthy Sir to welcome the chairman, Dr. S.N. Puri Sir, with bouquet of flower. Again, I request Dr. V.V. Ramamurthy Sir to welcome the Dr. Chandis Ballal Madam with the bouquet of flower. Welcome, ma'am. I request Dr. S. Subramaniam Sir to welcome Dr. V.V. Ramamurthy Sir with the bouquet of flower. Now I invite Dr. S. Subramaniam Sir, convener of the session, to the welcome address and to introduce today's speaker.
Good afternoon to everybody. I welcome all the delegates who are joining the session both online and offline. It's indeed a great privilege we have with us Dr. S.N. Puri sir, one of the longest serving Vice Chancellor of any agriculture university in the country, and also the longest serving President of the Entomological Society of India, to chair this session. Sir, we are indeed honored by your presence, sir. Thank you for being with us. We have with us today Dr. Chandish Ballal Madam, former Director, NBIRI, and one of the leading scientists on biological control in the country. It's a happy occasion here. We are joining for listening from the first ESI annual lecture. This is a feature for the first time introduced in the Entomological Society of India, and we are proud to have Dr. Chandish Ballal Madam for delivering the ESI annual lecture of 2022. Welcome you, Madam. Amongst us, we have the great dignitaries. I welcome Dr. Y.G. Prasad Sir, Director, CSR, Nagpur, who graced this occasion, and amidst his busy schedule, he has consented to be the chief guest for the morning function, and also he is being with us for the whole of this day. Thank you, sir, for being with us. I welcome Dr. B.V. Patil sir, former Vice Chancellor of US Raichur and also the Vice President of the Entomological Society of India. Besides him, we have with us Dr. Subhash Chandra sir, Director, NCIPM, Vice President of the Entomological Society of India, Dr. J.P. Singh, General Secretary of the Entomological Society of India, and other executive members of them, and Dr. Sharma sir from the All India Coordinator Research Project of Pesticide Residues, we have been with us. And we have with us also Dr. Ram Singh sir and other entomologists who have joined this occasion all the way from other parts of the country, including Dr. Srivastava from Gujarat, and also we have with us our former professor, Dr. Anand sir. So we all joined together for the ESA annual lecture 2022. And I invite all the delegates to join this session. We have all joined through the online platform. We have overwhelming participants of around 100, and some more participants will be joining for the afternoon session also. We welcome you all for joining this ESA annual lecture. And besides, I offer my welcome to all the scientists of the Division of Entomology and NCIPM, students of the Faculty of Entomology, and all the other participants and those who are associated with the ESA for gracing this function. So I take this opportunity for introducing Dr. Chandish Ballal Madam to this audience. Though she doesn't need any introduction, but I have to serve my duty for welcoming her for the ESA annual lecture. I'll give a brief resume of her. Dr. Chandish Ballal has obtained her BSc, MSc, MPhil degree from Calicut University and PhD degree from the Mysore University. After completing this program, and it is important to note, she has got the merit scholarship and also the university first rank holder for the MPhil program. Initially joined in the IHR in the year 1985 and later moved to then it is called as a Project Directorate of Biological Control. She has been with the institute when it is transformed from PDBC to different avatars of the NBAIR. It was called it by different names. All through this development, she has been there, and she has successfully completed the career as the director of NBAIR in the year 2020. One important focus on her work all through the career is the emphasis on environmental safety and sustainability by focusing her research efforts on conservation of the biodiversity and biological control. One of the potential non-chemical weapon for the insect pest management in the country, for which he has developed a excellent technology, especially for the mass production of the beneficial insects. And she has also the standardized procedures for insect rearing, and her whole efforts are culminated in making the NBAR is one of the largest repository of live insects. At one time, it was maintaining as many as 130 different insect cultures. All the credit goes to Dr. Chandish Ballal, ma'am, from the early career as a scientist through as a director of NBAR. And during the career, she has handled 40 research projects and with 300 research publications in peer-reviewed journals and our conferences and other proceedings. She has actively participated in the entomological research and its publication. She has received an international grant from DST, IOBC, CSA. The list is many. With this, she has traveled so many other countries like Greece, China, Sri Lanka, Nepal. It goes endless. And all of these occasions, she has presented the biodiversity as well as the biological control of insects in India. And rightfully, she has been honored with many awards and recognition. She is the fellow of a number of professional societies, and she is a recipient of many awards. Just a list a few: Dr. T.N. Anandakrishnan Award, Dr. Sitanandam Award, S.P. Singh Biocontrol Lifetime Achievement Award, Dr. prestigious ICR Punjab Rao Deshmukh Outstanding Women Scientist Award, Dr. S. Pradhan Memorial Award, Dr. Prem Dureja Endowment Award from NBA, NAS, and B.V. David Lifetime Achievement Award. And recently, last year, she has received the T.B. Fletcher Award. So really, we have with us one of the doyen of entomologists who are there in active career. Though she has superannuated from the service, she has not retired from the entomology as well. Still, she is actively participating as an advisory member of the different research advisory committees for different ICR institutes, Central Silk Board, and many other institutes, and also the RCGM committee of the Department of Biotechnology. With this brief introduction, we are honored to have Dr. Chandish Ballal for delivering the first ESI annual lecture. Thank you all. So we are also eager to hear from him. I'll give the mic over to Dr. Puri sir for chairing this session.
And good afternoon. This is the post lunch session, and we are going to have a very eminent speaker and learned personality in the field of biological control. Now it will depend upon her skills to keep you awake after having this very sweet gulab jamun and ice cream. Friends, we are privileged today to have a lecture on a very important topic. As you know, Entomological Society of India introduced the idea of having an annual lecture. And this is the first lecture. And this year's award goes to none other than Dr. Chandish Ballal, who had been actively associated with the work of biological control. I have been observing her since I was the director of NCIPM, and I happened to visit that institute. A very silent type of worker, but doing her job meticulously, and she rose to a position of the director of the institute. As the center went on progressing from the Commonwealth Center of Biological Control to Project AICRP headquarters to Project Directorate of Biological Control to Institute. Before that, I think this is the one institute in ICRIC that as the names of the new insects come, this institute also got many names. Probably it will be confused. We will be confused to see the designations of the people, because same person, he has worked as a director of the project, he has worked as a AICRP coordinator, and then now the another institute. पहले कुछ तो भी biological agriculturally important organism कुछ तो भी था, वो कुछ था. And I had a privilege of having to chair the RAC 3 times of that institute in 6 years. So I came in contact with them. So I really congratulate Dr. Ramamurthy for initiating this particular annual lecture series, and particularly selecting and requesting Dr. Ballar, most appropriate person to start with. And otherwise also, you know, every day in India, we are talking about ladies first. So naturally, we are honoring the lady by giving her the first invitation to speak on this very important subject. And she has also selected a very careful subject, caring subject. The title reads, Saving the Little Things That Run the World. So, madam, I request you to kindly give the benefit of your expertise. Thank you.
Respected Dr. Puri sir, Dr. Ramurthy sir, Dr. Subhash Chandar, Dr. Singh, Dr. Patil, Dr. Prasad, Dr. Ram Singh, Dr. Dillon. I see very many senior entomologists here, and senior and young dynamic entomologists. And now Dr. Puri has given me a huge responsibility of keeping you alive and awake. So after this sumptuous lunch, so I think you would stand by me and try to help me in keeping you awake. And first and foremost, let me thank the ESI for giving me this great honor of delivering the first annual lecture of ESI. And may I have my first slide, please? Can you share the screen? And before I start, I think I would also like to mention that Dr. Ramurthy sir always poses great challenges to me. And this time again, he said it should be a topic which should be away from my area of research expertise. So I had to really work hard and to accept your challenge, sir. And so I chose this. Can you go to the first slide? Do you have can I use this? Yeah. So, so this particular topic, I chose saving the little things that run the world. I should, like Dr. Prasad mentioned, it's very important to acknowledge whoever has helped you. I too believe totally in that. So I keep interacting with my former colleagues, though I am a retired person. So Dr. Prashant and Dr. Joshi were the ones with whom I had great discussions to finally arrive at what I would be speaking on and what the title should be. So first and foremost, after thanking Dr. Rammurthy and the ESI and Dr. Puri, I would like to thank my colleagues. So here this topic or this lecture is dedicated to Edward Osborne Wilson. He is called the father of biodiversity, and also he's called Darwin's natural heir. So as you go along, you will understand why this title has been given. So the title is inspired by Dr. Wilson's classic paper in 1987, which says The Little Things That Run the World, and it was published in the Conservation Biology, Volume 1. Now, he speaks in general about all invertebrates, but being an entomologist, I think you would bear with me when I say little things are only insects as far as I am concerned. So in this particular publication, he says, when 42,500 vertebrate species were described, 990,000 invertebrates were described, out of which 290,000 were beetles. This indicates how important the little things are. Why they are so abundant and diverse is because of their small size, because of the small niches they occupy, the little domains which they create, and even specialists, they can coexist. Insects can coexist, and because of their body mass too. And he makes a statement in this paper that if invertebrates were to disappear, human beings, all kinds of living things would die. But then the reverse is not true. The little things can still survive if some of the other organisms are no more. And insects, I'm sure in this group of entomologists, you would all agree if I say they will continue to be a source of scientific exploration and naturalistic wonder. And it's also said an ant may be more wonderful than a rhino, which a wildlife expert may not agree with me, but entomologists would. But the sad part or the matter of concern is that these little things are prone to extinction. Now, I have divided my talk into 3 parts. One is how these little things run the world, the first part. The second part, how we are losing the little things. And the third part is on how we can do our bit as human beings to save the little things. Now, how do they contribute to biodiversity in a quantified manner? We know that they have existed for more than 400 million years, and they account for about 66% of all known species. Actually, there are more than 1 million species, if you consider the species, but then if you consider insect individuals, there are more than 10 quintillion. In terms of biomass, there are 150 to 1,500 kg of insects for each human being. That is quantified again. Now, Earth harbors how many ants? I'm not able to read that number, but then it can weigh more than all the wild birds and mammals put together. This is all documented information. When you talk about insects, we talk about services and disservices. And as human beings, when we are concerned about agriculture, we speak more about disservices. And what are these disservices? The pest attacks by insects. And we know they damage more than 18% of the agriculture production. And usually when we focus on their disservices, we forget about their ecological services. But we have to keep in mind that only 0.5% of all the insects are considered as pests. The rest of them are doing a lot of services to human beings and for animals also. Now, what is the duty of human beings? It is to manage not only the insects, we are supposed to manage the ecosystems also in such a way that we do not allow them to do any disservice. So this role is on us. Now, basically, ecosystem services, broadly, we can divide them into provisioning services, like production of food. The second is regulating services. Biological control is an aspect under that. You have supporting services, which is actually a service which supports all other ecosystem services. And you have the interesting cultural service. And the most interesting part is that ecosystem services are provided with no cost. it is available on its own without any cost, but then it is very hard for us to assess the actual cost of ecosystem service. It's very difficult. Now, what are the ecosystem disservices? Let's look at only insects. The primary disservice is as a pest. Now, a matter of concern is that these disservices during majority of the occasions, it's because of the management practices which human beings are adopting. So we are in fact a cause for the disservices. Now, to go by each and every service, one is the provisioning service, as you all know. Insects form critical resources for fish and wildlife. Also, they are important for human beings as honey, as edible insects. 1,500 edible species have been identified, and in ethnic groups, a lot of countries use them, which has been published. And there was an interesting study in Mexico where they harvested grasshoppers for edible purpose. And what they achieved was that about $3,000 per family. And not only that, when they were harvesting these grasshoppers, it was a two-pronged approach wherein they reduced the pest incidence due to grasshoppers. Now, they say that grasshopper protein can replace the vertebrate protein also. By doing that, the greenhouse gas emission can be reduced. Amount of grain which is required for livestock can be reduced. And hence, the availability of grains for human beings can increase. Besides, there are medical and industrial products also from insects. The blowfly, Lucilia, which is used for wound healing, that's the blowfly, and also the silk and dye. To move on to supporting services, these are the services which are necessary for delivering the other ecosystem services. Examples are pollination, seed dispersal, decomposition. But then some authors consider pollination service along with regulating services. But then as per the literature which is available by reputed workers on biodiversity, pollination comes under supporting services. We have to admit that pollination service is such that it is a service which has got maximum recognition because majority of the entomologists work on pollination. And we should understand that majority of the plant species are supported by insect pollination. And this can be through bees, beetles, butterflies, and flies. And they not only contribute to plant diversity, they also contribute to animal diversity through plant diversity. And we know that bees or the pollinators as a whole, they are responsible for 60 to 90% of plant species, and it is critical for 35% of global crop production. And there is published literature where insect pollinators have been found to increase the rapeseed weight and also the value of the marketed products. And how can we manage the pollinators? Either by promoting their activity or by protecting the native habitats of pollinators from human interventions like chemical pesticide use, etc. Now, herbivory, whenever we listen to the term herbivory, we are first worried about the herbivores which are consuming the crops. But then there is a positive aspect to it also when we look at it from the ecosystem service angle, because they maintain the primary production and the carrying capacity. And herbivore diversity is generally positively correlated with herbivory and to the plant diversity. There's a very interesting paper by Showalter, 2016. I would urge the students to go through it, where the team says that outbreaks generally occur when there are some environmental changes. When these changes, they create conditions which are favorable for the herbivores to feed on the plants. Now, in the process, the stressed plants are first removed, right? And when this happens, those host plants get reduced and the diversity increases. So this is a service from herbivory. Herbivory can lead to transformation of plants into frass, and they are important for improving the quality of the soil, and it increases the nitrogen availability. So on the whole, we can say that it plays an important role above ground and below ground nitrogen fluxes. Now, decomposition role of insects. It is said that Earth would be one global ball of dung if it weren't for the activities of dung beetles. If dung beetles were not there, I don't know what our conditions would have been with our, we'll be surrounded by dung probably, which is undecomposed. So primarily the termites and dung beetles are responsible for decomposition. And a lot of work has happened on dung beetles, where 4,000 species of dung beetles have been identified, which are responsible for decomposition. And they also improve the nutritional content of the soil. They prevent erosion. And they also reduce the livestock losses due to the flies which may emerge from the undecomposed matter. And they can also reduce the GHG emission, greenhouse gas emissions. And there's a very wonderful project report online. That is a CSIRO Australia project on dung beetle responsible of decomposition of cattle dung. This was a project between 1965 to 1985. In this, what they did was they imported dung beetles from Europe because the native dung beetles could not decompose the amount of cow dung which was getting accumulated. So through this, they could significantly reduce the accumulation of cow dung in Australia. And this is one of the most significant projects. Also, insects are responsible for decomposition of carrion. Caliphorid flies are responsible, which are followed by a succession of several species of insects. Now, the utilization of detritivorous insects has been done at ICR-NBR, thanks to my former colleagues, Dr. Mahesh Yandigiri and team. Now, the microorganisms which are associated with these detritivorous insects, and here the insect which has been used as a model insect is the black soldier fly or Hermetia illucens. Now, this insect can convert the farm waste into manure, which can be used in the fields. Not only that, here we can say that this is a supporting service, but then it is also a provisioning service, because black soldier fly can be used for poultry and fish feed. So here it can have simultaneously different ecosystem services. Now, to come to my favorite area of service, biological control, which is a regulatory service. And I like this definition where it says, biological control is an important ecosystem service in agriculture, which is undervalued till it is lost. I think all of you would accept this fact, because we never identify till we lose it, and we are no longer able to identify what the real heroes in the system is doing. Now, there are several orders which are responsible for biological control, like Odonata, Neuroptera, which have members who are predators. Hymenoptera, majority of them are parasitoids. Hemiptera, Coleoptera, and Diptera, again, a number of predators in them. Now, if we have to appreciate any ecosystem service, we have to understand the value. Now, in the US, they have worked out that biological control is valued at US dollars 5.4 billion per year. And another paper indicates that the benefit through natural biological control, which I think was mentioned by Dr. Prasad. And here, this is for the natural biological control of coffee pests. Per year, the benefit was around US $75 to US $310 per hectare per year. Now, in several cases, the disservice we can avoid by only helping the ecosystem to sustain the natural biological control. We don't have to do anything. We just have to protect the indigenous biocontrol agents to do their job. Now, if we talk about valuation, generally it is said that in India, no work is done on valuation of biological control. But yes, it has been done in the case of conservation biological control of sugarcane woolly aphid. All that was done was to advise the farmers not to use chemical pesticides, by which a parasitoid Flavoscutellum, Encarsia flavoscutellum, and predators, Diapha and Micromus were protected, conserved, and they could manage the sugarcane woolly aphid. Now, this led to a savings of more than 1,000 crore Indian rupees. Similarly, through classical biological control of the papaya mealybug using the introduced parasitoid Astrophagus papayae, the benefit was around 1,500 crore Indian rupees. Now, when we speak about invasive pests, we cannot forget the recent invasive, the fall armyworm, Spodoptera frugiperda. This is my earlier colleagues. So initially it was on field surveys. Then there was a look at the natural enemies. All these were identified thanks to Dr. Ankita and team. But then I just want to mention to you, we have published the information generated on using biological control for management of the fall armyworm, which we have published as our own technical bulletin post my retirement, and also as a part of the CIMIT technical bulletin. But then there is a paper by Landis Gardner et al., where he has estimated the natural biocontrol agents can manage a single invasive pest, and they have estimated the value also. So similarly, why can't we estimate the value of the natural biocontrol provided by these indigenous natural enemies for the invasive pest? So this is something I want the young researchers to think about. But then in the science of biocontrol, there are certain points to ponder. The final ecosystem services we calculate based on the yield. But then for the yield, there is the contribution from the natural enemies. Also, there is human input. Now, in the case of greenhouse, you will find that there is very huge human input if we have to manage greenhouse pests using biocontrol. A lot of human input. I think you know about Copper biocontrol and in Netherlands and some companies who produce biocontrol agents in a factory scale. And these are released in the greenhouses. This requires a lot of human input. Now, we should understand in which crop there is minimum input and the natural biocontrol agents can manage. Also in biocontrol, the emphasis always has been on the final product, that's the yield. But we should calculate based on the value of biocontrol for the farmers specifically. Also, we should understand what are the ecological processes underlying biological control. Now, when benefit cost analysis is calculated, what we generally do is we take into account the cost involved like labor, materials for the biocontrol introduction, and benefit we calculate based on how much we would have spent if we had not used the biocontrol agent, and then we calculate the best benefit cost ratio. Now it is said that if it is more than 1, it is successful classical biological control. But then the benefits to the ecosystem because of the approach is not calculated. I will tell you an example. Suppose you are using a parasitoid or a microbial agent for controlling a pest. You are also conserving some other biocontrol agents. You're conserving pollinators, but you're not calculating those ecosystem services. So that is a flaw in the calculation. Now this, I think you will all wake up when I come to this topic. The cultural services, that is insects are supposed to provide religious, artistic, recreational, and other cultural services like hunting and fishing, wildlife observation, and spiritual renewal. And also it is used in religions as symbols. As I go along, you will understand. Now, one example is that the migrations of the monarch butterflies in Mexico, that is considered as a tourist attraction. Again, a cultural service. And the butterfly houses are very popular in some countries. Again, a cultural service. Now, insects have a role in mythology. I think in the entomology WhatsApp group, there was this forward where they had given the information. It seems when Tutankhamun, the pharaoh of Egypt, when he was buried, there was a scarab beetle kept on his heart. And this was, a mystery. And finally, 2 individuals, Jamie Thexton and Marcel Dupré, they have found out that the scarab is supposed to be a lucky charm, and it is kept on the heart of the mummy because they feel this scarab is going to protect it through its journey to the afterlife. Also, in the Christian tradition, the bee is considered to be an emblem of Christ because of his forgiveness, with his justice through its sting, and the Christian virtues, because they feel the way the worker bees serve their queen Similarly, Christianity serves the Lord. So again, reference to insects. In Hindu religion, Brahmara Devi is the goddess of the black bees. And here, this goddess is actually another aspect of Mother Goddess, the universal mother. Now, in all these mythologies, it is very clear they are preventing unnecessary killing of insects. They are stressing on that. And it is very interesting if you read, they say that insects are potential candidates for bettering itself through future reincarnations. So I would urge you to read this paper, Cherry and Sadhu, 2013, where they speak about insects in Indian religions. Now, music inspired by insects. Now, insects and music in Western music, they have actually documented this. Right from classical music and opera to ragtime and pop in Western music, there are references to insects. Now, there is a huge compilation in which I took. One of the oldest ones is the Black Song, which was composed by Wade Hemsworth in 1949. And one of the latest ones is the Six-Limbed Drummer by David De La Haye in 2022. But then there is no documentation of Indian music where insects have inspired music. So I just went through some information. I am a lover of music as I am a lover of entomology. So in Hindi, there is this Baura Bada Nadan hai, Bagiyan ka mehman hai. And in Malayalam, there is Tumbiva Tumbakkudathinu Tunjattai Unyalidam. There is one Malayalam song. And in Tamil, I think, Poovil Vand Moodinal, Vand Modinal, Poo Kantirakkum. And then in Kannada, Hoovinda Hoovige Haruva Dumbi, Yenanu Haduttide. So in all these cases, you know, you can find that insects have inspired several cultural services. Have I woken you up with this musical interlude? Okay. Now, see, I was telling you there is no compilation based on Indian music. You will be interested to see there is this paper by McAdam and Stockton in 2015. He says more than just fish food, ecosystem services provided by freshwater insects. He speaks about other ecosystem services. For example, he says the stonefly's drumming features when it actually, in the male location strategy, it drums. So that has been an inspiration for music. Also, he says there are several music teams which are named after insects. For example, the North Carolina rock band, which is called Mayflies, the French band, which is called Mayfly Symphony Orchestra, the Croatian band, which is called Dragonfly. Now, the second part that we are losing the little things. I have told you how, you know, giving a few examples, how they are contributing, now how they are losing. Now, basically, if you consider biodiversity as a whole, it is climate change, invasive species, pollution, changes in land and sea use, and species overexploitation, which are considered to be the major causes for biodiversity loss. Now, if we come to insects, it is predicted that within a few decades, we are going to lose 40% of the world's insects. And Buchanan, in the latest paper, 2021, he writes about algorithmic bug hunting. He reports on a 30-year study which was conducted in Germany, and there has been a 75% decrease in the flying insects. Again, a recent paper, Sebald, in 2019, he has given evidences clearly that there is a significant reduction in the biomass and species of insects. Now, we call it the death of unsung heroes. Can you tell me why? Because one thing is, we have not understood what they are doing. So they are unsung heroes. I would say they are unnamed heroes also who have died, because there are several species which have died even before we could identify them. So these are unnamed, unsung heroes who have died. And to give examples, the managed honeybees in US has dropped by 50%. And there has been a 75% decrease in the biomass of insects in Germany. Worldwide summary has been taken where they have estimated 45% drop in the abundance of invertebrates, in which they say a big chunk is of insects. The number of widespread butterfly species have fallen. And bees, there was a study in US in 1949, what they recorded. And in 2013, when they recorded, only 50% was present. And there is a 49% decline in beetles. Now, whenever there is a decline in biodiversity, we blame it on climate change. But is it climate change, or are we interrupting the natural ecosystem? Now, saving the little things, the last part. I would just want to look at the hurdles which have caused this kind of non-documentation of either our diversity or how much we have lost, especially in India. I think all of you would admit if I say we do not have a full inventory, number one, and we do not have a list of endangered species, extinct species, and those which may become endangered. We do not have. One reason is we lack an inventory. And a review of the literature which is available indicates that there is no quantitative result. It's just in percentages, or we just say significant reduction. There is no quantification. And basically, there has been a focus on pollinators, decomposers, and biocontrol agents. Other studies, other ecosystem services are not seen. So I think after this seminar, at least a couple of you would look at the cultural services, and you can come up with a documentation. I would join with you in the publication. Now, Dr. Wilson, in his book on Half Earth, you know what his principle was? He says the sixth extinction can be halted if environmental degradation is stopped. Now, to do that, he says in his book, his theory is that half the earth should be kept aside for diversity, for non-human species. Now, is it practical, impractical? I think we should think about it. Now, he says this is the only answer to stave off mass extinction. Now, let us look at what are the practical solutions to protect these or to save. Now, Kremen, who was one of the foremost workers on biodiversity, and Oswald in 2005, an interesting paper which says a call to ecologists to measure, analyze, and manage ecosystem services. So what I would like to tell you is it's not only managing the ecosystem. We should initially measure. That is the most important thing, and then analyze and then manage. IUCN has an ongoing invertebrate program. They have a red data book on the threatened species and endangered species. And the Circe Society is named after an extinct species of butterfly. And they work on protecting butterflies and other invertebrate species. And their aim is not to protect specific species. They look at whole ecosystems, which should be protected to protect several species which may be endangered. Now, there are invertebrate exhibitions conducted by the National Zoological Park, which is also an initiative to protect and create awareness about protecting diversity. Now, in the red list of 2018, only the pygmy hog sucking louse is included from India. So do you think this is the only one which should be included? There may be many more which has not reached the red list. Now, an encouraging aspect is that the grasshopper specialist group of the IUCN has initiated the red list assessment of grasshoppers in India. Similarly, I think for the different groups, if such initiatives have taken, it would be good. Now, the concrete steps which have been taken to encourage ecosystem services. Now, this thanks to Dr. Shivling Swami, Amala and team from NBAR. There are various methods. You can do habitat manipulations, or protect them from pesticides, or provide pollen source, nesting sites, water, etc. One method of protecting pollinators is to have pollinator-friendly non-crop plants and create pollinator garden, which is available at NBR Yelahanka campus. And in that garden, we have nearly 300 species of flora. Another method is to provide nesting sites. These are papers which are published by Amla and team, very interesting papers. Now, to conserve the leafcutter megachilid bees in pigeon pea, they have initially studied the nesting behavior, and they have provided these artificial nesting sites in the pigeon pea fields. And this has led to considerable and significant increase in the yield of pigeon pea by installing the trap nests in the field. Similarly, the pithy stems have been used for conserving the native carpenter bees, and also the sphesid wasps. Now, this again was published in Sociobiology. And here again, one more example is providing trapness for the predatory wasps. Now, that is Rhynchium brunnium. Now, this was again placed in the pigeon pea field. This is very interesting. See, here you can find that different types of pests are collected by the predatory wasp. And you can see here in the plate below how the wasp larvae are predating on the pests which are collected from the pigeon pea field. Now, here it was very clearly proven that there was a significant reduction in the Maruca incidence in the plots which had trapness installed. So these are cases where it's a simple technology. Now it is on the part of extension wing or the researchers themselves to create demonstration plots, to create awareness, to avoid the use of chemical pesticides and promote these beneficial insects through simple technologies. Now, habitat management, Dr. Selvaraj's excellent work using of Cana indica or banana as banker plants to reduce the incidence of rugospiraling whitefly, and also declaring pesticide holiday. These are plausible methods which are practically possible in different regions. And this is a study in East Africa, ECP work, where they have used the push-pull strategy to control the fall armyworm. That is, they use maize and desmodium on either sides and broadering brachiaria. Now, this is called push-pull strategy because one plant pushes away the pest and the other plant attracts the natural enemies. So this is a very important strategy. Again, thanks to Chitra Shankar from NRRI. This is a study where they have tried different bund crops to reduce the pest incidence by BPH and improves the natural enemy population. And it was found that marigold was the best one. Now, this is a very interesting study. I told you we can do habitat manipulation using different plants. But then this study by Feeder et al. In 2008, what they found was that the plant selection criteria is very important. And native plants are most appropriate to be used in habitat manipulation because the stacked ecosystem service, what I have indicated there, see those stacks which are jutting out, the yellow ones, those are the stacks which indicate the service which can be created only by native plants. The non-native plants cannot provide those services which are indicated by the yellow stacks. Now, there are several factors which will help in making a biocontrol strategy successful or unsuccessful. So this was a study for the management of alpha-alpha weevil, that is Hypera postica, by the biocontrol agent Bathyplectus curculianus. Now here they found that in eastern United States it was very successful, whereas in western United States it was not successful. What they found out was that they had to conduct research, system-based research, what was lacking in that particular system. And they used imagery and remotely sensed imagery and then modeling approach. And what they found was that the landscape composition can predict the pest density and the pest density can predict the parasitoid performance. So finally, they found the fields which had received insecticide applications in the last 5 years, they were not successful in classical biocontrol, which indicates the management strategy that you are following in a field will also determine whether your classical biocontrol is successful or not. Now, how we can use community science to help in your biodiversity measurement or conservation. Now, this is a study on the painted lady butterflies, that is Vanessa Cardoi. Now here, they wanted to identify the nectar sources. This is a paper published in 2022, one of the papers which I came across just 2 days back. Here, what they did was with a community science approach, they have monitored the nectar producing plants which the butterfly visits during its eruptive years and non-eruptive years. Eruptive years are those years when they migrate in millions. Non-eruptive years are those when they don't migrate in millions. Now, during that monitoring approach, what they found was that they identified around 329 nectaring plants, out of which 195 were newly identified ones. So this indicates community science is very important for measuring the performance of any insect. Now we have something to be proud of in India. India's nature beetle mania. This was the first event which was done to encourage interest in beetles in India. Now, this was a 7-day observation event. It was open to anyone. And between 22nd to 28th August of 2022, it had 173 observers and 83 identifiers. And they found that 1,157 beetle observations may have made. And a fact to be proud of, Karnataka, Uttarakhand, and West Bengal were the top in the observations. Now, can we come up with any restoration schemes? So I was looking at models which India can emulate. So this is one model where habitat restoration scheme was taken up for the large blue butterfly. Now, this butterfly became extinct in 1979, and it was one of the most endangered species. So what they did was they introduced the caterpillars of this butterfly from Sweden in 1983. And after how many years? In 2022, recently in June, they found huge numbers of this blue butterfly in England, especially in southwest England. So it has become the largest concentration of this butterfly. Now, not only the population of this butterfly has increased, it has also improved the diversity of the rare plants and the rare insects in the process. And there has been community funding for recovery of the bees. They call bees the vital ecosystem engineers. And Sussex, the residents of Sussex, they generated around 75,000 pounds. And what they did was they planted wildflower oases across South Downs National Park. They planted across various community fields, roadsides, and everywhere. And this has resulted in 72% rise in the population of bees. Now in Australia, this is a very interesting project which they had taken up, which is published as a report online, you can check. It is Mata et al. 2016. Now they are also influenced by Dr. Wilson's paper, Little Things. But you see the title, The Little Things That Run the City. Insect ecology, biodiversity and conservation in the city of Melbourne. So what they did is they took up 37.7 square kilometer area. They took up 15 study sites. They took up 4 habitats, 132 plots, and lot of funding they got from Melbourne funding agencies. And they could come up with so much of information through this project. Why not we take up a project on similar lines? They got the information on native and non-native species, insect groups which have the highest diversity, and above all, they could get the information on the ecosystem service provided by the recorded species and what management action should be prioritized. Even that information they could generate. Now, there is also a center called the Center of Biological Diversity in US. It is called CBD in short. And their aim is to protect all species, great and small. And they have a Saving the Insect campaign. And you know what they do through this campaign? They follow a particular modus operandi, and that is they push local, state, and federal policies, which definitely limits the use of toxic chemicals. They promote the practices through which insects can be conserved, and they prepare reports in such a way that it is understood by the common man, by the policymakers, and the government. So at the end of all this, when we look at what diversity these little things create, in what way they are contributing, and how we are losing them, and how we could probably save them, looking at other examples. And yes, there are examples from our country which others can emulate too. Now, what we should understand from this is that insects and other small invertebrates are as important as vertebrates. If we have strong protocols to protect the lion, the tiger, the elephant, similar protocols we should take up for insects. in situ and ex situ conservation of insects is practically feasible. It is not something which is impossible. And we should measure biodiversity and have a complete inventory for the globe and specifically for India. Research and public and education should be there on Indian star species. Like they have star species in other countries. The focal attention is on preserving those star species, but we do not have a list of star species. And we should quantify what we have lost. Right now, we do not know what we have lost and what we are going to lose. And we should understand and try to find out the importance of ecosystem service, not only to environment, but to humanity also. And how the contribution of ecological processes and human inputs together, they are leading to ecosystem services and the societal processes underlying ecosystem services. And above all, we should monetarily value ecosystem services. Can you tell me why? Because only then we can convince regulators. We have to tell them, okay, insects are providing this much of service worth 2 million, 3 million. Only then we will be getting adequate funding, probably. Now, some of the feasible measures to create pollinator gardens, urban pollinator parks. We should create visibility to whatever work we are doing, probably through demonstration trials in farmers' fields. And funding for projects, this Ramurthy sir, you had told me that there should be some regulatory recommendations which could be conveyed later in some point of time. Funding should be to projects which take up initiatives which focus on measuring diversity or in conserving diversity or to save diversity. And there should be support for museums. There should be support for live insect repositories, and there should be projects which are totally, I think I should say it should be a citizen involvement projects, wherein researchers and citizens together work on conserving insects. National and international networking, as Dr. Prasad mentioned, and all the land management decisions should be tailored in such a way it should consider whether in the process we are losing our valuable little things. And there should be a recovery plan for the endangered, not insects, taxonomy profession, which is endangered. Now, this is not my statement. It's a paper by Pearson et al. In 2011, I think. He says there should be a group of taxonomists who, instead of working on identifying species or genus, they should work on providing the right platform for young taxonomists. They should be the ones who go into cyberspace and advanced technologies and provide a technical program, feasible funding opportunities for taxonomists so that taxonomy would thrive. There should be such a group of taxonomists who will for a time forget about research and who work for researchers. And I feel a recovery plan for biocontrol workers would also be something welcome. And there should be a sustainable plan to sustain conservation and biocontrol strategies. Now, on the behalf of insects and entomologists, I should say, caught between the animal and plant kingdoms, these little things motivate us to confront and re-evaluate our notions on gender, family, society, struggle, division of labor, social organization, and individual and collective intelligence. Now, thank you all. I thank ESI. I thank young researchers for their, today was a great learning experience listening to the award winners. I thank Ramurthy sir, S.N. Puri sir, and all the seniors. I thank my NBR colleagues. I thank my guide and first director, my mentor, Dr. S.P. Singh, whom I remember with a lot of respect today. Thank you, one and all.
Okay, friends.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing wonderful information and enlightening the session. Now I would like to invite Dr. S.N. Puri sir and Dr. V.V. Ramamurthy sir to felicitate today's guest of honor and speaker remarks. So it gives me immense pleasure to invite Chairman of the session, Dr. S.N. Puri sir, for the remarks.
Well, friends, this was the first invited lecture in the series of annual lectures initiated by Entomological Society of India. And you will agree with us that it was a very important decision taken by the society, and a very learned speaker was chosen for the occasion. The type of information she has given, I think it was a wonderful feast, particularly for those who are looking towards the insects from environment point of view. And therefore, I think all of you will agree, we need to give a standing ovation to Madam Pandit. And this lecture was very informative and several aspects were considered. Initially, I thought that probably it will concentrate only on biological control, considering the expertise. But because it becomes what you say, applied type of thing, so really she has tried her level best to divert and incorporate many other things which entomologists generally do not look at. My particular observations for the youngsters that please, those days are gone when we were thinking about entomology alone. Now entomology does not come into picture. It comes into picture what others are doing. Because of that, the problems are created. And then only you are coming in. So we have to keep our eyes open, and many services which are rendered by the insects, their cost and value, particularly in economic terms, what she has tried to bring about is very important, because whenever the files come to the administrator for taking a financial decisions, we don't go with the words of very important, excellent, and all those things. We see only from the point of view that what is the expenditure and what is going to be the gain in terms of money. If that is convincing, it becomes very easy for the administration. Otherwise, we send that file to controller or finance for comments, who doesn't know anything ABC of that. And he says that it is not feasible, and then it is finally closed. So it is very important while proposing anything that we talk in terms of money. What services are rendered by insects, not only directly as a biological control agent, but other services are also there. And several aspects were touched. I don't think that it will be appropriate for me to indulge into again repeating those things. But some of the things which has been brought out for us as a fellow entomologists working in the field actively. You see, we are now retired people. We can only advise. We cannot do much. But those who have the future before them, they have something to do. This conservation practices, particularly, it has been neglected aspect in our whole curriculum. Conservation biological control, only one para was taught in those days. And that is the end of it. But now if you see, there is a ample scope to enter into this particular field. Conservation parks for insects. And to me, it appears that if we want to conserve the insects, the children needs to be taught about its importance. You will find in a village where I stay nowadays after retirement, if there is any small larva, the children will be running after it and trying to kill it without knowing whether it is harmful, whether it is not harmful. First thing is that just a sap ka hota hai, any snake, if you see, the whole village will be gathering at one place, and beating it with whatever is available. Don't know what happens, whether it is poisonous, it is not poisonous. But snake is a different thing because it scares the people. But particularly for insects, and that is why I think we have to see how best we can incorporate in the school curriculum the portion on insects. Now, in many states, state governments are coming forward. As a chairman of the committee for the new education policy for agricultural education, my committee has recommended the inclusion of agriculture subject from primary schools onwards. And the government of Maharashtra has accepted that in that particular recommendation. And now they are framing the curriculum. So in a way, if children are made aware of the conservation, biodiversity, insects, their role, their specific. So probably it will help in a much better way rather than teaching these things to the elder one. That is more important. The biodiversity listing or estimation is really with us. We don't know what is in our pocket and we want to go to the police station to lodge a complaint that somebody has robbed our pocket. I put it in that cruel terms that it is not going to help. If you tell police that there was 1,000 rupees in my pocket, then he will get some interest. If you say 100 rupees was there, say he may not bother also. If you say 5,000, so he will be more interested because he also expects something to get out of it. So this is the thing. So the listing of biodiversity, what are the plus points of it is very important and it was lacking. Probably now with the efforts of this particular one project on systematics which was launched, Dr. Ramamurthy, the taxonomic science, which was very much neglected, it has come to the forefront now. And we are happy to see many young people now talking about taxonomy. In my days, when I was a student in IRI, it was the last student who used to go to taxonomy, according to the CGPA of that time. Because very few people, and only taxonomy group used to talk about taxonomy. Dr. M.G. Menon, Dr. Swaraj Ghai, Usha Ramakrishnan, and one or two other people. But those were the days, it was very difficult for them to get funding also. Every time they had a complaint. And everybody used to ask, what have you done for control? So there were no answers. So naturally, this is a very important area, that listing of biodiversity and in financial terms particularly. And natural biocontrol, which has lost its value, we have to think twice. Government of India has decided a policy to encourage natural farming. And for that purpose, funds are also given. I do not know if it is a natural farming, where do we need the funding for natural farming? Because natural farming means you don't have money in your pocket, what my forefathers were doing. My grandfather, because he had no resources, so he used to keep the field like that. Just call one person, one bullock pair and sow it and leave it like that. No fertilizer, no pesticide. If small crops are coming, जो भी आ गया उसको काट लिया लाया. That was the natural farming. So it is actually natural farming is resource poor farming. If you are putting resources, then it becomes intensive. So I am confused. What is actually natural farming? What people want to do? I may be 100% wrong. You may not agree with my views, but
not buy anything, whatever you have.
no, that does not fit into natural farming. ना. मेरे पास में पैसा है तो कोई चीज डाल दिया तो उसको क्या मतलब है? वैसा नहीं. my main point is that whatever government may say, we may differ. We may agree, we may not agree. But we have to find a plus point in there. And plus point is that if government is keen on propagating natural farming and if funding is coming, we should try to enter into that and see what are the plant protection practices in the natural farming they are recommending. And then get them scientifically tested. And if they are effective with a very low cost, if they are going to get advantage, we should not shy to recommend it to other farmers. Those who cannot afford to purchase pesticides, those who don't want to use pesticides in their farm, they can use those natural farm practices or whatever is recommended. So there, the scope for means what you say, developing or expanding natural biocontrol is very much there. Because people are not going to use means any chemical. And therefore, this is the one area where we should find a window to enter into. As a scientist, we have to keep our options open. We should not compromise with scientific matters. But at the same time, if there is something, even to say that it is not good, we must do research on that. We should prove on paper that it is not going to help. Merely telling, nobody will listen to us. So this natural biological control is having a significance, and particularly in light of the material, means the lecture presented by Dr. Chandis Balla, I think this is the appropriate time. This has been neglected a lot. Nobody bothers about it actually. I am there for last 8 years in a irrigated situation. My farm is irrigated farm, but I don't follow any biological control practice there. Why? If I get information from Bangalore or from any magazine, particular insecticide in biocontrol agent is to be used, it is not available. Commercially, it is not available. Small plot they can give for 1 or 2, but for 600 plants, nobody can give. I cannot multiply it on my own. So the problems are there. That is why we have to try to find out if some guidelines are given for natural biological control or conservation biological control. Probably it will help the or expansion of biological control in the agricultural area. So we had excellent lecture presented by Dr. Chandis Balla based on her very rich and long experience of working in this field. I think everybody must have enjoyed it. We generally don't invite questions on this means in such lectures because this is an invited lecture. So, but if you have any doubts or if you want, Madam Balla will be available over a cup of tea. So you can just get your
Sir?
doubts clarified.
We will also give chance to those in the online also to offer remarks.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because so that they can also participate in the deliberations. May I now call upon Dr. Manjunath sir, if you are ready.
Is there?
Yes.
No, morning he was there.
No, now also has joined. Dr. Balike sir, if you have any remarks, sir, Manjunath sir, you have come.
Yes. I have been here from,
What remarks?
I have been here right from the morning. And I really enjoyed my participation,
Check here.
listening to all the awardees and also the remarks.
Sir,
Also-
Manjunath sir, can you please wait for a while? We are saturating the speaker
Okay.
here.
Okay. No.
Yes, now you can start, sir.
No, I mentioned that I have been attending right from the morning and I thoroughly enjoyed the presentations made by the awardees and also a very thought-provoking address by Dr. Prasad. And now I had the opportunity of listening to Dr. Chandish Ballal. It was a very unusual subject, which he has covered very eminently, and it is really thought-provoking. And other than this, I think it has been a very wonderful initiative by the Entomological Society of India, having revived all these activities and also introducing these awards and also the special lecture. And this is going to benefit a lot of entomologists, because I found that there are about 1,400 members of ESI. I think among them, a lot of them are youngsters. They should be motivated to take up research. They should try to go out of their comfort zone or out of the comfort zone and try to see how they can actually pursue research in an unusual way. I think these are some of the benefits of attending the seminars. And I really would like to congratulate the past president and the present president, Dr. Ramurthy, for reviving the activities of Entomological Society of India. And I'm willing to contribute in whatever way I could for the promotion of entomology in general, and biological control in particular, biological control and integrated pest management in particular. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. We are indebted to take your advice and also take your guidance in our further proceedings, sir. Next, may I call upon Dr. Balike, sir, for offering any remarks?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, audible, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Today's speech on Dr. Chandish Ballal, we are striving only for 0.5% test population and neglecting 99.5. So her speech was an eye-opening for 99.5% population of the speech. And also in the today's morning session, there are so many new ideas were there in their whatever they have done their research. So these are all the guidelines for the young scientists, young entomologists, and I really enjoyed the today's this one. And this is the one I can say this is the milestone in the history of the ESI to start this type of workshop, and this will continue for a long time, and hope to have some good future in this endeavor. Okay, thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, may I now call upon Shri Ishwar Chadasi?
Yes, good afternoon.
Yes, yes.
Dr. Subramaniam, first of all,
Yes, please. Yes, yes, please. Wait for a while. Just
am I audible?
you are audible. Just wait for a few seconds. We'll be switching over to you.
Yeah.
Just lighting is not sufficient to show on your face.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Till we could get a silhouette image of you, you can proceed.
Okay, I think, can I speak now?
Yes, yes, proceed.
Yeah. First of all, thank Entomological Society for giving me this opportunity. I have already made my comments in the chat box as well. I am from storage side, and basically storage side, we are having no pesticide right now as a preventive measure, and even the curative measure phosphine fumigation is also developing resistance. I suggest that entomology research should concentrate equally well on stored green pests. This is my suggestion to all.
Thank you, sir. Sir, now may I call upon Dr. Mohan Kumar?
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, proceed, please.
Okay. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share one or few words. And from the morning, it was very interesting. The various presentations by the awardees as well as by the director of CICR, as well as now by the madam, earlier director of NBAR. And it is a very good, as like Entomological Society of America, the lighter vein of the side on the one side, as well as on the pest management on the another side, we covered by the both experts, CICR as well as by the madam. And there are very good opportunities are available. There are many projections, as madam pointed out, insects as food. So already the African continent, there are a lot of work. I think next few months there is a seminar also. And so the insects as food is getting very big momentum in the global scale. Even though we don't prefer, but we can have the opportunity for export. Besides a very good protein source and the Bangalore based InStem, I think everybody knew that the cockroach milk, they were invented by them. And then the cockroach farming is one of the good avenues in China, as madam was very much scared of cockroaches, so she didn't mention in her speech about that, but that was the very big industry in China. Now it is going. And like that, there are very good, wonderful opportunities for all the entomologists to concentrate on various areas to conserve as well as get the very good economical products from the insect world. So thank you very much. So I thank all the past president as well as the present president and all the office bearers for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Next, may I call upon Dr. T.P. Rajendran, please?
Oh, thank you very much. Professor Puri, Professor Ramurthy, Dr. Subramaniam, and the ESI functionaries, ESI members, and participants of this workshop today. Post-lunch feast was excellent. I had put in my chat box that it was an amazing symphony of art, culture, and science in the first ESI lecture. It has left a good taste in my mouth. The overall perspective which Dr. Chandesh Ballal weaved to impress upon the ESI and the audience for her this afternoon creates impressive stimuli and invigorating thoughts to bring about various facets of research by not classifying them as biosystematics or taxonomy, by bringing in biological concepts in general, and the conflict which agriculture has created in being defined as intrusion into nature can be sort of corrected with a lot of nature supportive intrusions or conservation biological approaches for farming, as Dr. Puri was handling the issue of natural farming, which the government policy has been spelled out with the conflicts which are there between the commercial cultivation or commercial agriculture, including animal husbandry and fisheries, and the nature conserved systems is generally a paradox, generally a conflict, but there are opportunities for bringing synchrony into the commercial systems also, with a lot of biological principles being brought through conservation biology. Right from 1972, when Edward from Rothamsted talked about conservation biology in agriculture, we used to have these thoughts in us, but the wherewithal was not so great. But with the advancement of science over the last 30, 40 years, especially in entomological science, we have opportunities, and NBAIR, or as Dr. Professor Puri put it, the earlier acronyms of NBAIR, had strived hard along with various ICR institutions to bring about non-chemical production of crops in various ways. And one of the spin-off was the current fanfare on organic production system. Whatever it is, these are all roads which are merging and converging into one single point of conservation agriculture. And conservation agriculture under NICRA was very strongly built up by ICR. And we thought that we will be able to pick it up in a cropping system, farming system mode, although there were again difficulties because of the silo systems we follow in disciplines. of agriculture and other biological, other scientific fields. In any case, with all the new thrusts which are policy supported from the funding systems and government, and with the clear points brought out by Dr. Chandish Balal in this afternoon lecture for the ESI, the first lecture by a woman scientist on saving the little things that can save the world. Hope we can save ourselves as scientists, entomologists, with these wonderful keynote thoughts which she has brought out. Thank you very much, Dr. Chandish, for this illustrious lecture you have given. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for being with us throughout the day. May I now call upon Dr. B.V. David, sir, and Dr. N. Ramakrishnan to be amongst us as a panelist. As you are attending the session, we are given a request to attend as a panelist. May I now call upon Dr. J. Purane. Purane, are you available? So meanwhile, I'll call upon Dr. Mani Chellappan if she is preparing. Okay.
Respected Puri sir, Ramamurthy
Yes.
sir,
Can
Dr.
you come on?
Subramaniam.
Video, please. Can you start the video if you are available? Your video is off.
Yeah, I'll come on video.
Yes. Okay. We'll have a darshan.
Yes. Respected sirs, Dr. T.P. Rajendran sir is there, Dr. Chandish ma'am is there. I am very happy to see all the stalwarts on one platform. Since morning, I was just listening the proceedings. I did not know about the Prasad sir, G.V. Prasad, O.G. Prasad sir is there, or yeah. It was a wonderful experience being heard from the stalwarts, and all the lectures so far. It was excellent. The ESI, it has started this type of series of lectures, and it was excellent for the seniors as well as for the juniors, and they have constituted the awards also, and it is a sort of encouragement for the entomologist. And I thank Dr. Chandish Ballal. She had touched every aspects of entomology, and she had even proposed a status for the insects as the wild animals like the elephants and tigers. They enjoy. It is an excellent proposal. Because the ecological service, our insects, it has we just we have not touched a tip of it, because the services provided by the insects are huge. And I thank ma'am. She brought some aspects on the non honeybees, means the pollen bees, their ecological services, and she had shown some of the yield parameters, also the ecological services provided by the pollen bees. We also started doing some work on these aspects, and everybody got interested in the bees other than the honey bees. So it was an excellent opportunity to see all the stalwarts, and I wish more programs of this sort should be there, so that the interaction among the entomologists working on different spheres will be converged, and it would be a meaningful recommendations, or the proceedings would be of very useful for the scientific community. Thank you for giving the.
Thank you, Dr. Mani.
Yeah.
Okay. If there are no more remarks, then now we'll move on to the next one. Felicitation of today's speaker by President of this session. May I now call upon Dr. Puri sir to felicitate Dr. Chandish Ballal ma'am.
So this program is just ending now. We will have a break of 15 minutes for the tea, and then we will rejoin here for the felicitation of the outgoing executive committee members. So all are invited for the tea outside, please.
While during the police station, we will ask them to few words. Then when there somebody if they are interested like what in the HKC, there itself they can tell few words.
Sir, after
Police station current, immediately like a acceptance speech, they say they can tell something. They can keep the mic this way. They can offer them so that they can cover. ऐसे cover करेंगे. Instead of calling them again, police station को call करेंगे. Sir, can you a few words, please? Eston Puri sir will be felicitating. You call one by one the former executive. No, he can stand here only. They will be few words only. If they are interested. Okay, thank you, miss. That's all. Now give a call to the audience to occupy the chairs. All are requested to reassemble.
all are requested to please reassemble in the hall. All are please requested to reassemble in the hall. No, sir. I'll go.
Check here, who are available.
Those who are not available, उनका नाम नहीं लेना ना.
नहीं लेना. You go to the. You have to arrange only those who are available. Okay.
Guru.
Okay.
सोनू कंफर्म कर रहा है मेरा तो बहुत रख
I welcome you all back to the ESL Annual Workshop 2022. And in this occasion, we take this opportunity to felicitate the outgoing Entomological Society of India Executive Committee members. I request Dr. S.N. Puri sir to the chair of the session to felicitate the outgoing ESI members who has been dynamically and dedicatedly doing their contributions to the ESI. So please. Dr. B.V. Patil sir. So please come to the stage, sir. The Vice President of the outgoing Executive Committee who has served ESI for past 4 years. That's from 2018 to 2022. Sir. Patil sir, a few words, sir, just few words.
Okay. First of all, thanks for ESI for this. You know, this was a dream of our last executive committee meeting. In fact, I was asked to draft all these awards, the principles, the criteria for all these things. Almost all have been finalized, of course, fine-tuned by IRI team and Professor Ramaswamy also, Ramurthy also. One more thing is still yet to be implemented. Of course, I told Dr. Ramurthy also, that is giving the honorary or lifetime achievement award, which should not be maybe immediately. No, we should not ask for any application for that. The executive committee members should themselves identify, fine tune, and then get the biodata and then honor it. So that is one thing which ESI should do it. And the second thing which we were discussing, you know, quality for the papers. There should not be any compromise on that issue. Even if less number of papers are issued, no problem, but no compromise for the quality. Of course, but Dr. Puri Saab was telling, you see, one should be proud to say that, oh, I have published in Journal of Entomology, Indian Journal of Entomology. That should be the statement that should come from particularly the younger entomologists. So we should reach that stage. I'm sure under the leadership of Professor Ramurthy, we will achieve this particular aspect also. Once again, thank you for providing me the opportunity of 4 years with the under the leadership of Professor Puri. Whatever that is possible, we implemented. But of course, we had planned so many things. Dr. Krishna Kumar, myself, with him, and Sir Ramurthy. But COVID, you know, affecting in so many fields, it affected our activity also to a major extent. But last 2-3 years, we could not do much of the things except for some online brainstorming sessions. Probably now onwards, because money is not a constraint. I'm sure for entomologists, you know, money is not a constraint. Money will come automatically when you implement some of these seminars, symposiums, even brainstorming sessions. Only the thing is, you know, we need the proper thinking to organize and then implement. Once again, I wish the new executive committee under the leadership of Ramurthy to do furthermore things. Thank you once again.
I invite Dr. Chandish Bellal, Madam, the Vice President Honorary for about 4 years from 2018 to 2022. And I request Dr. S.N. Puri sir to honor her. A few words, please, ma'am. Ma'am, a few words.
This is the second dose of honor that I have received. Really, truly indebted to Almighty and to all my seniors for being blessed today. I wish ESI all the best in all its future endeavors. It was very lively day that we have all entomologists spent together. I wish for more such meetings. Thank you. Thank you all.
Now I invite Dr. J.P. Singh, sir, who has served the society as treasurer about 9 years from 2004 to 8 and 2015 to 18, and a counselor about 6 years from 2009 to 2014, and as general secretary about 4 years from 2018 to 2022. JP sir, a few words, please.
I express my sincere thanks and gratitude to all the executive members of the committee for their help and support, particularly President Dr. Puri sir, who is always ready to help us in any eventuality, and we take decision in a spirit that he will agree for all the decisions if it is taken for the welfare of the entomologist and Entomological Society of India. Once again, thank you very much to all of you. Thank you very much.
Now I invite Dr. Subhash Chandra, who has served about 8 years from 2015 to 2022 as Joint Secretary of Entomological Society of India. Sir, your blessings.
Thank you very much. I thank all the executive members and all the members for their support, especially Honorable Dr. S.N. Puri, Dr. Ramamurthy, and Dr. B.B. Patil, and Dr. Chandi, everyone. What I think that executives will come and go, but I think flag of ESI should remain high, and we should continuously strive for that. And I agree with Dr. B.B. Patil that on journal front, we have to be more, stringent and should work for its improvement. Thank you very much. I wish all the best for the new executive.
I invite Dr. V.V. Ramamurthy, sir, who has started working with our Entomological Society of India as Joint Secretary from 2009 to 2014 and as Chief Editor for the past 8 years, and who has made the journal in this sheet. Welcome you, sir. Sir, I request you to have few words to us.
I have a lot of things to say when I say a lot of things, but as an outgoing executive and going to take up the mantle in the next few years, I have always cherished the association with the Entomological Society of India in whatever capacity I was. I was a simple member editorial board in the initial stages. I used to referee papers, correct them, and send them back to the author. The one thing which I like is to improve the papers submitted by very small local colleges and agriculture universities, which are in the back front, which needs to be improved. So even now I do it, and I hope that I am pass on this mantle to the next batch of people whom I'm planning to train in the next few years, and hopefully I will be successful. And I should mention here the support of all the members, executives, every one of you who helped me in making the society better now. And I feel that it should become still better and best in the coming years. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I invite Dr. Ishkesh Singh, sir, who has served the society as counselor about 8 years from 2014 to 2022. Singh, sir, a few words, sir, please.
I am very much thankful to ESI. They have invited me for this program. And really, I enjoyed the very good lectures delivered by various scientists. And once again, thank you very much.
I invite Dr. Sachin Suresh, sir, who has been counselor for the past 4 years from 2018 to 2022. Sachin, sir.
Good evening, everyone. We started journey in 2018. Actually, there was pandemic from 2020. But as we reflect now, we could do so many things. So now, and we strive to do same thing in the coming 4 years. And I thank past President S.N. Puri, sir. I learned so much working with him. Our Ramurthy, sir, who is always there for us. And he will be continuing working with us. And my guide, Dr. Subhash Chandra, sir, we learned so much from him, B. Patil, sir, Krishna Kumar, sir. And we could have done so many things, but still we are happy. And definitely, as they told that we would like to improve the quality of papers, which will be published. And definitely we try to strive for increasing the NAS rating. That our first aim is to get it past 6 NAS rating. And we'd like to have annual lectures, and there should be symposium and international conference. So thank you very much.
Now, with immense pleasure, I am requesting Dr. V.V. Ramurthy, sir, to honor our chair of today's session, Dr. S.N. Puri, sir, and the president of the outgoing ESI. And I request the students to support. Dr. S.N. Puri, sir, was the president for about 18 years. That's from 2004 to 2022, which is a very big achievement. He has supported us, the young entomologists and the budding entomologists, everybody. So we all thank you from our side also, sir. Sir, please.
Respected Dr. Ramamurthy, President-elect of the Entomological Society of India, Dr. B.V. Patil ji, the Vice President of the Society, Dr. Subhash Chandra, Director NCIPM and Honorable Member of the Society, Dr. Chandis Madam, the Vice President of the Society, my guru and teacher, not directly, but still, Dr. R.K. Anand Saab, who made it a point to come here. All the honorable members and fellows of the society. Indeed, it was a pleasure today to hear the young scientists. And I was very happy for one thing that always I used to find, and even I have expressed in some of my earlier addresses also, that the technology which is developing, we are not making proper use of it. That's why our papers are always graded as somewhat lower grade. But today I found that many of our young scientists have made full use of the technology, and their papers are altogether different type. What they used to be. Earlier, we used to receive many papers with 8 treatments and 4 replications. Different insecticides, changing insecticides or concentrations, spraying schedules, and all those things. But that makes me a little bit worried now that the demand of the farming community as a farmer, since last 8 years, I am practicing farmer. Their demand is to solve their problem. So while making attempts to go into the fundamentals of basic science research, we should always aim to sort out the problem so that our fundamental information will be used for developing applied technology, which will be applicable under the field condition. Otherwise, time will come after 10 years to say that पुराने ठीक थे, कम से कम कुछ ना कुछ तो बताते थे. So we have to be little cautious on that. I had a fortune to work as a president under very critical circumstances. The society was in real dilemma in those days. Journal was not regular, and financial position of the society was also not very good. It was precarious. We were just in a position to meet the cost. Dr. Ramamurthy and his colleagues from IRI, they approached me at that time, and I was not interested in society from the very beginning, because the history of the societies is very sad chapter, particularly those located in Delhi and around. I find many societies had ups and downs. So, but they said that because I was in the Northeast at that time, and distance-wise, it was not possible for me to cover. But they assured me of the full support, and I had a full faith in their working. So they were given free hand to run the show of the society. I am very happy to say that now almost 2,500 is our strength, with almost 700 or 650 life fellows. Journal of the society is regular. I am given to understand that December issue is ready, and 300 papers are still online. So we have been happy on that. Today morning when I was discussing our impact factor, NAS impact factor is only 5. So we were discussing the strategy, how to make it up to 6 at least. Our next target is 6. And Dr. Ramamurthy, our president-elect, has assured me that he will take care of this dream. Financially, I don't say that society is in a very rich one, but still we are in a very, very comfortable position. If we keep our target of 50 lakhs as a fixed deposit not to be touched, still society can run without any problem if there is no mismanagement. If there is a good management, society will be on its own. So that is a very happy situation. We are living the society in a good condition, healthy condition. And we have taken certain decisions, Dr. Patil, the suggestions which your committee has made, that has been taken care of, but there was little bit of methodology to be followed. There was some dilemma. Probably they will take care. He has assured me that by 2023, it will be implemented. The another important thing which we suggested and decided, but we could not implement this time, is going to be in 2023. And that is to identify the researchers in the university departments of entomology. We have 75 agricultural universities in the country now, almost. So the entomology departments heads will be made responsible to identify MSc and PhD students who are good from their point of view. The selection process will be with them. And then we will be identifying 25 to 50 candidates. And we will be arranging the Students' Congress of Entomology. Means, in short, from all over the country, budding entomologists who are in research, who have completed the research for MSc and who have completed the research for PhD, they will come here and they will make the presentations. To and fro cost of their travel will be borne by the society. So this is one encouragement we are doing. Because my observation, I have spoken even in the NAS also, that until and unless state agricultural universities are not encouraged, they are lagging behind because of certain difficulties and certain problems at their level. They are local people. But until and unless they are empowered and they are brought in the mainstream, we cannot speak about the country as such. Only concentrating on few metropolitan cities or few ICR institutes will not serve our purpose. And our real material is in their departments. If we can catch hold of those people who are doing MSc entomology or PhD entomology, and if they are brought on this national platform to make the presentation of their papers, following a complete procedure, so probably it will open a good opportunity, and it will make a spark in their mind to continue entomology as a profession. That is the idea. We do not know how far we will succeed, but I am 100% sure, because Dr. Ramamurthy, once he says yes, I have not seen any failure in that particular project. And this he has okayed. Both of us, we were there involved, but now baton is with him and he will take care of it. So it was a long journey of 18 years. I never expected in 2004 when they came that I am going to be even for this second term also. But it went on, some problems came on, and then we continued, but we were regularly, elections were held as per schedule, and then the people were elected or selected. And the main objective of the Executive Council was to see that society prospers. Society should not come down. Now our journal is online. He has made several amendments. The papers are also being published. So it seems that now the society is in the safer hands. I am happy that I am handing over the baby in very safe hands. And all of us will see that it grows, and grown-up baby will be seen in coming years by all of us. I am extremely thankful to the fellowship for giving me such a long rope of 18 years to work as a president of their society. I am sorry for one thing, that they might have expected some few more things from us. We could not fulfill that. But still, I can only assure that we were working without any ifs and buts or without any means partiality, only for the betterment of the society. And that I have a satisfaction at least of saying. So when after completing my 16 years as a vice chancellor, when I retired in after completing 70 years in 2014, since then I was after them to relieve me from this position. Whenever they used to meet me, I used to say that even twice I have resigned also, that relieve me, I am resigning. But they continued. And now it is finally today I could see, and today I am feeling very happy. The charge of vice chancellor is over for last 6-7 years. Now the society is also over. So I am very happy, and I wish all the best to the new incoming executive council under the presidentship of Dr. Ramamurthy ji. I can assure you of all the assistance and support from my side, whatever is possible as an individual. I wish all the fellows of the society all the best, and we wish you that you will bless the new executive also for the coming years in the same fashion as you blessed earlier. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Now we have come to an end to the ESA Annual Workshop 2022. To propose the formal vote of thanks, I invite Dr. V.V. Ramamurthy, sir, the President of present ESI.
Doing vote of things is a pleasant duty, but before that, I want to make some announcement. Dr. S.N. Puri wants to leave the society, and he says that he will leave the society, but we are not going to leave, and none of us want that he should leave. We wish to revive when the society was established. Initially, it used to have a chief patron, and President of India was the patron. If we see the history of ESI, we will be reviving this, and I want to make this announcement that Professor S.N. Puri will be the chief patron of the society as long as he is alive. He is going to be a lifetime patron, and Dr. K.S. Kokar is going to be patron. He is not here today, but he is going to be patron. So with this announcement, let me start with the vote of thanks. In the morning, we had a very nice session. Though Dr. Subramaniam has already proposed a vote of thanks, some points I want to mention regarding the awards. In fact, I want to thank all the nominees who applied for the award. There are 90 applications for the Senior Scientist Award. Dr. Mukesh Dhillon and Ankita Gupta, you must know that we were the two selected out of 45 people who fulfilled the criteria. Equal number of applications are there in young scientists also, out of which about 35 qualified the base criteria which you have fixed, and among them 4 have been selected. So whatever achievement you have got, you have achieved out of your merit only. Likewise, we did not have enough competition for best PhD thesis, but still it was one of the best PhD theses. So I will like to thank the members of the jury and also the scientists in the division of entomology. I don't want to name them, who have helped me in finalizing the awards of senior scientists and young scientists during this event. And coming to today's afternoon session, in fact, we are really grateful to Dr. Chandish Balal for agreeing to give this lecture. When I talked to her regarding this, she immediately accepted, and she had been always a well-wisher of the Entomological Society of India in general and entomology in particular. I always used to hear from NBRA scientists the way he used to teach he used to take all the scientists along with a positive approach. The genesis of the first annual lecture came from the scientists of the Division of Entomology all the scientists of the Division of Entomology, along with Dr. Subramaniam, they only mooted this idea that we should start the ESI annual lecture. So I should thank all the scientists of the Division of Entomology, especially Dr. Subramaniam, who came and agreeing to steer this particular event today. So I must thank him for that. And Dr. S.N. Puri, in fact, he was having a family function today, but he somehow managed, and it is only because of the personal attachment which he is having for the society for the last so many decades, he could make it up today, and we are really grateful to you, sir. The mementos for the outgoing executives are made by Dr. J.P. Singh. I must place on record here all his efforts in making this felicitation thing possible today. The outgoing executive committee is to be thanked for each and everything which have progressed in the last 4 or 5 years. Especially Dr. B.V. Patil is here, and Dr. Krishna Kumar was also instrumental in conducting some brainstorming workshops during the last 3 years online during the COVID time. And we had the support of all the executive members who are outgoing now. And please don't think that you're all outgoing from this executive committee or outgoing from the Entomological Society of India. You will all continue to be mentors of the society, and the new executive would like to invite your suggestions and have your mentorship throughout in the next few years. I will also like to thank the current executive committee, Dr. Sachin Sureshe, Dr. Pradeep Juneja, Dr. Subhash Chandar, Dr. Arya Balikai, Dr. Sashikant Udikari, Dr. Poonam Jashrotia, Dr. K. Suresh from Madurai, and Dr. B.K. Bamre and Dr. H.K. Singh. And I am sure that all of you will continue to support me, support the members of the society and also the journal, so that we can take the society further and improve the journal. So thank you. And as far as today's event is concerned, I don't want to take the name of all the individual scientists from the Division of Entomology. They all played their part. In fact, I did not do anything. Every one of you is taking my name. It is not at all correct. The entire event today was managed and planned and executed by the scientists of the Division of Entomology who are here. So I don't want to name each one of you individually. And I should thank all of you from my heart for this. And I thank Dr. Mansingh for giving this venue. And I thank each and every student of the Division of Entomology who has taken part in this today's function. Thank you. There were a few people I forgot whom I have to need to mention them by name. Mahesh Rawat, who is sitting in the Secretariat of the Entomological Society of India. In fact, he is managing all the digital things. Stand up. Sonu, who is joining, who has taken up the function of Kushiram, late Kushiram, and Sunita. I don't know whether she is there. So now, in fact, each one of them is responsible, and in fact, all the society secretariat thing, they're all individually and independently handling it. So I must thank them. Okay. In fact, I should also mention here the services of late Kushiram. In fact, he used to work without minding time and hard work. So in absentia, posthumously, we thank Mr. Kushiram for whatever he has done to the society. Okay.
Thank you all. So we came to an end to our program, and I hope that everybody will be joining the general body meeting tomorrow online. So I request all of you to please join 10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock, and I hope the link, Zoom link has been received by all, and I request all of you to please join this, and then give your suggestions for the betterment of the ESI. Thank you. Thank you,
It's only
everybody, for
online,
your
Rajna.
participation.
It's only online.
Yes, sir. Online. Zoom link is in the mail ID of everyone. So please join. Thank you all. Thank you.